Now then, my friends, a little road trip today because we're going to go and try and make it to Glasgow in my electric car, EV, whatever you want to call it. Now, for all the people out there that do like the food videos and they don't like the electric car whinging videos, don't worry, because we're on our way to Glasgow, but we're going to call off at Blackpool on the way and try and get some fish and chips for one of the best fish and chip shops there. So that's coming up in an episode very soon, so keep an eye out for that one. But for the people that do like the electric car videos, well, I've owned this electric car EV now for over a year, and I can tell you the reality of owning an EV is nothing like what they make out in the media. It is an absolute nightmare, my friends. Now, I will say I am not one of these people that wear tinfoil hats and are conspiracy theorists. Say that with a lisp. I'm not one of those people who wear tinfoil hats or anything like that. This is reality. It's my actual experience on owning an EV. I will, however, say, you know, it's just my opinions and I may be wrong. But like my dad used to say, I've only ever been wrong once, and that's when I thought I was wrong, but I wasn't. Now, if you are new to the channel, please do hit that subscribe button, click that little bell for notifications of when I upload new videos. Now, without further ado, my friends, let's go. Right, so we're on the road, and you could not write it because as I was filming the intro for this and I switched the car on, I got a little message displayed there. Driver's battery card empty or something, which is the little security card that you have with it. See, you can't really rely on batteries at all, can you? Anyway, we're going to head off up to Blackpool along the way. You won't be seeing that on this video, but you can watch that on another video. I want to go and do some fish and chips for a change. And then we're going to head up to Glasgow. Now, Glasgow is about 267 miles from here in Mansfield in Nottinghamshire. We've got 97% of battery now. I've gone about 3 miles down the road, 218 miles of range, and it's 9:46 a.m. in the morning. Now, we're going to have all the evangelists on there, which are very, it's like a religious cult for electric cars, and there's a religious cult within a religious cult, because then you've got the Tesla owners as well, who think they are supreme, but it's the same garbage really. It's an electric car and they're rubbish. However, I will say there is one comment that I picked out on all of the comments from the evangelists that did actually make sense, and I read it and I thought, you know what, he's actually got a point there. And all he put was, charge when you can and not when you have to. And that was the most sensible comment out of all the videos that I've done. I don't know who said it, and he obviously was an evangelist, but I have to agree with him. Charge when you can, not when you have to. Whenever you see a charger and a charge point, put some charge in your car, and then that way, hopefully, you're not going to end up in the doo-doo, shall we say. Anyway, it's looking like it's going to be an okay day weather-wise, hopefully. So I'm going to charge where we can. We're going to go up the motorway. That's the easiest possible way to get up to Blackpool from here, and there's lots of charge points, hopefully. And charge points Scotland as well. When we get to Scotland, have some free charging points as well. I've got a list of things to go through with you about electric cars. As I say, I've owned this one for a year and a half or whatever, and a lot of people keep saying to me, why don't you get rid of it if you hate it that much? Well, one of the points on there is because I leased this car, and basically if I hand it back, I'm going to end up out of pocket. I'm going to have to give them a load of money back as well, which is interesting because a few months ago I was offered more for this car than I actually paid for it. But at that time I thought, oh no, I'll just persevere with it, whatever, and see how it goes. But since then, the prices of electric cars have plummeted. Now, I don't know why. Is it a fallacy? Is it reality? Is it, you know, false information? I don't know. Pop it in the comment section down below. But I did We Buy Any Car thing, and yeah, this car now has plummeted in value, and I don't know why. Is there a reason for it? Anyway, I've got, like I say, a list of things that I want to go through with you, but I'll grab a coffee, charge up, and we'll go through it in a bit with all the main list of stuff. So one of them being, by the way, that these cars aren't as environmentally friendly as you may think. Come on, onwards, my friends. Right, so we're on the M62 now in the roadworks, and I'm doing 50 miles an hour, yet this lorry seems to want to overtake me at a faster speed. It's got average speed cameras. I don't know, what can you do? I'm sticking to my speed limit. Oh, it's because we're coming out of it now. Here we go. Right, now I'm just going to overtake him. There we go, back to the national speed limit. So, EV owners, evangelists. Now, not all of them, I will admit. Some of them admit that they're not the future, but the majority of these evangelists are the kind of people, I think, that superglue themselves to the tarmac and hang off gantries on the M25 and would rather eat a nice plate of tofu over, I don't know, say like a nice sirloin steak. And that's the kind of majority of people who are evangelists. You can't speak any sense to them. And I know in the comment section down below what comments I'm going to get. And it gets a little bit personal, and they get very on the defense about their electric cars. First of all, I can tell you, before, stop typing Mr. Evangelist there, because first of all it's going to be, well, I can tell you what, you got the wrong car there, you should have got a Tesla. Well, I don't want a Tesla, because basically if you have a Tesla, well, you don't really like cars, do you? Because they just look like a chamfered Smartie. And admittedly, the software is a lot better, and also the charging network, the infrastructure is a lot better. But the cars suck, basically, don't they? So that's where we are on that one. Sorry about the noise of the rain, if you can hear it, by the way. And then you get another one where they'll say, I bet you was one of those people when they were brought out the internal combustion engine and you had your horse and cart. That'll never catch on. The same answers. You're charging it wrong, aren't you? You should have charged it. You shouldn't have charged it past 80%, and you should let it go down to 10%. All the stock answers, basically, from these evangelists. And they really are very defensive about their electric cars. So much so that, now listen to this, I met up with a guy, I'm not going to say his name, but I met up with a guy who emailed me and says, oh, come and meet up with me. And he's probably watching, and he has petrol cars as well, V8 engines, but he'd ordered a Tesla. And for some reason, this guy, I met up with him and I said, I quite like my electric car, actually. and I do like the way they drive. I've always been open about that. I said I've actually ordered another one as well, and at the time I had ordered another one. I'd ordered another one of these because it was 2 years to get them through. I've cancelled it in the meantime because it's rubbish. So I told him that, and then immediately on one of my videos, this guy's a liar, he's lying, he's ordered another electric car, he really likes it, he told me. Speed camera, thank you. Well, I'm not speeding. He told me. Put it in the comment section. So I thought, this is nuts. He went off on one. He's doing it for clicks. Well, I'm a YouTuber, and yes, we do videos for clicks. He's only doing it for the views. This is the kind of people that evangelists are. It's obviously, he's been upgraded.
Upgrade in progress.
He's been taken over. His mind's been taken over by electric cars. And then I thought, well, I'll tell you what, I'll block him, because the guy was getting rather annoying, to be honest. So I blocked him on YouTube. Then he followed me on Twitter or Instagram. He's a liar. He's doing it for views. He really likes his electric car. And I'm like, you're only saying what I say on the videos. And in fact, some people said, give it a rest, mate. So it kind of backfired on him. The guy's nuts. I mean, it's closing on cyber stalking, I'm telling you. So then other day he followed me on Twitter. He's lying, he likes electric cars, he's putting out false information. I'm putting out my experience with electric cars. So if you're watching, I would probably just stop it, because it is a kind of cyber stalking of which is now against the law. There's one very popular YouTuber from Nottingham who's now not YouTubing because he's serving time at His Majesty's pleasure now, isn't it? Is now locked away because it's cyber stalking. These people are very, very defensive about electric cars, and it just, I don't get it, to be honest. It's crackers, and they think they're saving the environment, but they're not. And the issues and the experiences that I've had with this car have literally been so stressful. And if I've tried to work out the amount of time that I've spent charging this car, and it's got to be over 300-400 hours wasted easily, I would have thought, on charging this car on in the public chargers. It's crazy. And then we'll get answers in there now. Huh, yes, but the majority of people, 75.3% of people charge their car at home overnight. So you're actually talking rubbish. Yeah, you should have planned your journey. This is one of the best ones. You don't need to put them in the comments. What is it they say? Fail to plan to fail. That's it. Fail to plan to fail. I think you'll find. Anyway, it is quite comical. We're at 76% now, 167 miles of range. By the way, I know I'm babbling on now, but I've got so much to say. In summer, I'll get nearly 300 miles of range in this car. Just check I'm going the right way. In winter, I'll get about 197 to 200 miles of range. It really does wallop the battery in winter. So in winter time, maybe don't plan going too far on too many journeys. We'll get another one. Well, my Tesla, which has got the extended battery, I think you'll find does a lot better range than that. It still does less in winter. Anyway, come on, onwards, my friends. God, I've got to tell you, the weather is really, really bad. The rain is hammering down now. I've put the windscreen wipers on full. I've put the heater and the demister on as well because it's steaming up a little bit. That's dropped the range down now and the battery as well, which is always a thing with electric cars. And if I had to charge up by the way, I'd get absolutely soaked because, as I've said before, there's no covers, there's no roofs on electric charging stations. There aren't some, I think there's one down south, or there's two that's got like a special charging station, but the majority of charge points don't have any covers on, so you get absolutely wet through while you're doing it. Also, by the way, I was going to say, one of the comments that I get a lot off of the evangelists is, oh, you're not planning your journey, you should use ZapMap or whatever it is. Now, I did use ZapMap. I had an experience of recently that you might have seen the video of, where I got caught in the snow, and ZapMap took me to 2 charge points that it said were active and were in use that weren't. So ZapMap, again, useless, not 100% correct. Now, I said also earlier on, and I'm not the best at maths, by the way, but let's try and work this out. Okay, so I've done 21,500 miles in this car, right? So get your pen or whatever. 21,500 miles in this car. Let's say I get 200 miles in the winter, right? And maybe 300 miles in the summer, and I've had it just over a year and a half. And I've charged, I'd say, 55% of the time on a home charger, so 45% of the time I've actually charged on a public charge point, which has taken roughly, sometimes up to an hour to charge. Okay, so I'm roughly around about an hour in these places, and it doesn't always give me a full charge, depending upon what charger I'm using. So work out, because I just plucked that figure out the air earlier on, how many hours I've actually wasted of my life charging this car. Pop it in the comment section down below. See if you can do the maths. As I say, not my strong point. Otherwise I would have figured out that electric cars are absolutely useless and not fit for purpose. Come on, onwards. Cool, blimey, I tell you what, the lorries with the spray, kicking the spray up. Which brings me, by the way, sorry, I was cursing out the lorries a little bit earlier on when the camera was on the road. Sorry, lorry drivers, I know we've got lorry drivers out there as viewers. You're on the road, you have just as much right to be on the road, and I need your help actually, because lorry drivers, answer me this question, right? Battery technology, so we're all being pushed into electric cars, but what about lorries? Where does that leave lorries? And I know people are going to say, well, I think you'll find that Tesla and Elon Musk are working on an electric lorry. It's going to be a long way before we can have electric lorries, isn't it? Are they going to work? Will they work? Is there a future for electric lorries and battery operated lorries? You know, is there? Let me know. Lorry drivers, you'll know better, because Dave, my mate, who's probably watching this, is a lorry driver, and he said it'll never work. Because these guys, they're on the road for miles. They haven't got time to keep stopping and charging up for hours on end. And also, I always think to myself, you know what, and let me just say, by the way, I'm not for polluting the planet. I'm all for, you know, saving the planet and being as kind to the planet as we can. I've got young children. But it makes me think, well, hang on a minute, why don't we just use aeroplane fuel then? Because nobody seems to be worried about that. There's all the aeroplanes in the sky. They're not going to be battery operated, are they? So why are the government not bothered about aeroplanes? Why are they not bothered and thinking about that? Because they surely, as I say, this is only my opinion, these are only my opinions, and I may be wrong, but surely the aeroplanes are more polluting than these cars. So why aren't they worried about them? And that's what brings me to thinking, maybe it's just all about control. Look at the government to start with, right? Okay, the UK government I'll go with, although it applies to all of them, right? You've got our Prime Minister, driving around in a big Range Rover or a Land Rover, whatever it is, and also a Jag and a Mercedes. None of them vehicles are EVs or battery operated. Not that I know of. They've probably got a couple, but the ones that I've seen them being driven around in, they're all gas guzzling huge cars. And you've got the Prime Minister getting in the back of a Range Rover when there's nobody else in it, and it's a massive gas guzzling car. So why tell us that we've got to drive EVs? The little people, you drive your EVs and get in your electric cars. That's the future. We want to save the environment while we drive around in our massive cars. And it's the same for the Mayor of London as well. Okay, the other week or month, he was taking his dogs out for a walk less than a mile down the road, I think, and I read this and it was true, apparently, allegedly. Took his dogs out for a walk and got driven there in his gas guzzling Range Rover. Yet this is a guy who's extending the ultra low emission zones. So where's the logic for that? Again, I've said before, I'll say it again, they can cut these vehicles off whenever they want. They can switch them off. There's a kill switch on these. They can switch them off. It's all computerized, and you'll get some people saying, well, yes, they can do that with the modern day ICE cars as well. Maybe you can. But the fact of the matter is, we're being told to drive these electric milk floats. I mean, my nickname should be Ernie, shouldn't it? I drive the fastest milk cart in the West. Anyway, we're down to 141 miles of range, 66% of battery. It's now 12 minutes past 11. And it's hammered the battery a little bit because of the windscreen wipers, the lights, the heater. So, you know, I'm hoping that we can get to Blackpool without charging. Now, the last time I went there, somebody said to me in the comment section, you should have charged when you went to Blackpool, when you did your fish and chips. Why didn't you leave your car charging? And the reason behind that is because if I'd have left my car charging while I went to go and film some fish and chips, I would have been an hour and a half to 2 hours, and then I would have been taking up the charge point for somebody else to go in and charge their car. So no, I didn't want to leave my car charging. So they've always got an answer, but the answer doesn't have any logic behind it. It's just to try and defend their religion of the EV community. It's unbelievable. Anyway, I can't wait for these fish and chips. I'm getting hungry now with all this talking. And if you are new to the channel, by the way, please do hit the subscribe button. It's down there. There's, you know, electric car videos, and we're going to be doing a drive against another guy, actually, a YouTuber called Geoff Buys Cars. Now, I spoke to him yesterday. If you've not subscribed to his channel, by the way, he really does talk a lot of sense. And I spoke to him on the phone yesterday, and I said, oh, well, let's meet up, because he reached out to me, and he said, why don't we do you in your electric car and me in my diesel car, and do like a journey down to Cornwall or whatever, and do a vlog on it? And I went, brilliant idea. So I'm going to meet up with him next week, and I'm going to go and interview him, and I'm going to be on his channel as well. So head over and tell him, pop it in his comment section and say the MacMaster sent you, and I'll put his link in the description down below. He does talk a lot of sense. So anyway, looking forward to that. Come on, onwards. Now, we all want to save the planet, don't we? And, you know, keep Greta Battenberg happy. Battenberg? Have I got that right? That's a fruitcake, isn't it? Maybe, no, I think, you know what I mean. Maybe I'm not too far from the truth. But you know what I mean. We all want to save the planet, and, you know, but these electric cars are not as environmentally friendly as one may think, because we're still digging holes in the ground, aren't we? We're still mining for cobalt. And also, bear in mind Now, bear in mind, all you evangelists who say it's for the greater good.
It's all about the greater good.
The greater good.
There you go, had to get that in. And that's basically what it is, it's a cult, isn't it? Bear in mind that the people that mine for cobalt, allegedly, so I'm told, so I've read, but you never know what to believe, that the people that mine for them are as young as 7 years old. They use 7-year-olds to mine for cobalt, and they're working in potentially, breathing in potentially dangerous dusts from doing that. So we're contributing as the EV community to using children to mine for cobalt. Is there any truth in that? Do your research. I've read about it, but as I say, I can't verify any of that information. I'm only going by what I've read. So you need to do your own research. I'm covering myself here, as I say, because I don't want to, I'm not wearing a tinfoil hat or whatever. But, you know, the facts are out there if you look for them. But it is control, isn't it? So get the comments rolling and let me know in the comment section down below and let me know what you think. But I will state again, I love the way that these cars drive. They've got instant torque, you know, and if you charge at home, yes, it is more economical, but if you use the charge points out on the infrastructure here, which is terrible, then it isn't. It can work out more costly than a diesel car. And also take into account the price of these cars, right? The price of these cars into the equation. Now, Geoff buys cars, who I just mentioned. I watched one of his videos and he worked out, have a look on his channel, he worked out basically the cost of a Nissan Leaf, is it, electric car, how much that was worth after so many years, get the right place here, how much that was worth after so many years against the equivalent diesel car, I think it was. Have a look at that video and it worked out you'd be better off, miles better off, with the diesel car. So it didn't work out any cheaper at all, and the range that Nissan Leaf got at the end of its life was something ridiculous. I can't remember offhand. I think it was something like 40 odd miles or 50 miles on a range, which is daft. And you could get, again, don't quote me, go and look at the video, 200 odd miles or something out of a diesel, maybe more. Have a look at the video. But that's why I say I think it's all about control. Anyway, the sun's come out. Oh, that's it now. I'm hoping it stays like this while I'm in Blackpool, because Blackpool's, it's nice, but it can be pretty grim if it's raining. Now then, there's a lot of caravanners out today, which I thought, hang on a minute, that brings me to a little question. So anybody who's into caravanning out there, I'm not personally, my mum and dad used to do it years ago, where does that leave you as a community with electric cars? So 2035 comes along, or whenever it is, when we can't have internal combustion cars anymore. Let's say there's no internal combustion, everyone's got to have an electric car. Where does that leave the caravanning community? Because towing a caravan with an electric car, I've read, is virtually, it'll tow it, apparently, I think, will it? I don't really know about electric.
Pothole on road ahead.
There is a pothole on the road ahead, is there? Right, okay. Where does it leave the caravanning community? Can you tow a caravan with an electric car? And if you can, what kind of range does it get? Because it must absolutely kill the battery on the car towing a caravan. Anyway, there's a question for you. And by the way, let's get through this bridge, 1 second. There we go, otherwise I'll probably go a bit dark, will I? There we go. And by the way, my mum used to say, bless her, And if she was here now, I could tell you exactly what she'd say about electric cars. Mark my words, somebody somewhere is making a lot of money out of this. I can tell you. That's what she used. That's what she was like. And you have to agree with the elder generation. They knew what they were talking about. Come on, onwards. Ha! Back again. Now then, interestingly enough, got things going through my mind about electric cars, and I'm here, by the way, to tell you the reality of owning an electric vehicle, having one myself. And I can tell you, do not buy one, right? Do not ever buy an electric car. If you're thinking about one or you've signed for one, don't sign on the dotted line, cancel the contract, don't do it, because they're a blooming nightmare, to be honest. Funnily enough, I was driving back down from Leeds towards Mansfield, and I was caught in a traffic jam 2 or 3 months ago, and there was an electric car on fire, and it took hours to put it out, literally hours. These things, when they catch fire, I think the again, the guy Geoff buys cars did a video on it where they're looking at putting them in tanks, or fire brigades looking at putting them in tanks, allegedly. Let me know in the comments section down below. And it's interesting because we're everywhere we go, me from being from a marketing background, an advertising background in newspapers and media, we're having electric cars pushed down our throats. So every advert that you see on TV now is electric cars, electric cars, electric cars. Even in this YouTube video, you'll probably see advertisements or commercials for electric cars, and it's literally trying to train our mind into thinking we need an electric car. We must have the latest, the newest thing, an electric car. You won't get adverts if you've got YouTube Premium, by the way, and I'm not paid by YouTube to say this, but I had YouTube Premium a few months ago. I subscribed to it, and it's brilliant. It's the best thing I ever did. If you watch lots of YouTube, get YouTube Premium. You don't have any advertisements at all. It's fantastic. You've also got loads of music on hand as well, on demand YouTube music. It's brilliant, picture in picture. I can't recommend it highly enough. YouTube Premium literally is probably one of the best purchases I've made in ages. Offsets the purchase of this, which was one of the, well, the worst purchase or lease purchase that I've ever done in my entire life. Luckily it's leased and I can hand it back, but they were having it literally forced down our throats because it's all about conditioning us into thinking that we must have an electric car. And figure this out, there's more bike lanes now and bus lanes than ever before, because they don't want you to drive. They want you to be on public transport and stay within a certain vicinity, and that's what I personally think it's all about. So don't fall into it, don't do it, because if we don't, it will be too late. We'll get to the point where we think, oh yeah, oh right, that's what it was all about, and it'll be too late. Make a stance now and say, no, I'm not having an electric car. We want the internal combustion engine, but obviously more environmentally friendly, which brings me to the point that BMW, if you do your research on this, have now extended one of their sections in there, or whatever, their units, into researching hydrogen cars. Now that is supposed to be the way forward, a lot of people keep saying. And there's also like a synthetic fuel or some kind of fuel that a company's working on, that it's way more environmentally friendly. So that's where we need to be looking, and looking at, not into batteries where we're still digging holes in the earth anyway. You're still digging massive holes in the earth, so it makes no sense. Control, remember I said that. Come on. Right, almost at Blackpool now. We've got 111 miles of range left, 50% charge in the battery. I'm not going to charge you when I get to Blackpool. I said it earlier on, just in case you skipped past that part. One of Mr. Evangelists out there. I'm not going to leave my car charging, because you'd have a whinge at me if I did, because then you'd be saying you're leaving your car charging, and then other people, you're blocking it for other people that want to charge. So I'm not going to do that. I'm going to wait until I've gone and filmed these fish and chips and done another video that I'm doing, then come back and then I'll charge en route to Glasgow and do it that way. Incidentally, by the way, I went to my dentist the other day and he's a bit of a petrol head, and he had an M4 and he swapped it to one of these Porsche Taycans, but a Cross Turismo, so the estate version basically, which I always think is like a wardrobe on wheels. I don't like estate cars, but that's my thing. That's not what we're talking about. Anyway, he said to me, I said, so how's your electric car getting on? And I have to say, I don't know whether he watches these videos, he swore, he went with the F word, and I was like, oh, okay. He went, in car, I tell you what, I've had problems with it. It was electrical system failure, and then it was jumping, something to do with the steering. They had to come along after he had a load of trouble with this. This is not good advertisement for Porsche, I have to say. He had a load of trouble. He got them to come out. It was Christmas time. They came out, collected his car on a transporter, because you can't tow an electric car because there's no neutral. I don't think there is. Check that out. Verify all this information. There's no neutral, and it damages your battery, so they have to put it on a transporter. So they brought a transporter for his car, then lost his car because he rang up, where is it? They didn't know where his car was because they'd turned off the tracking system in the car. He's had it back. He's had no end of problems with his electric car. And I said, oh, what are you actually going to do then? He said, well, I'm stuck in the lease with it. But he's thinking of just getting out of it and drive in the middle of the lane. I am doing, but they've changed the lane thing because of the roadworks. He's actually going to go now for a Porsche 911 Carrera GT4 or something, I don't know, back to petrol again. And I said, would you ever have a battery car again, electric car? And he went, and he swore again, no way. So there you go. Electric cars, give them a miss. Don't buy one. Don't touch them. Don't conform. Don't listen to all the advertising, the marketing. Don't do it. You'll see when I go on charge how long I'm waiting for, if somebody's on the charge points. Absolute nightmare. Anyway, I shall, if you're watching, if my dentist is watching, Haribo, sorry, not good for your teeth, is it? Full of sugar. Anyway, come on, onwards. Right, I'm in Blackpool, so 97 miles of range left, 44% battery. So I'm not going to charge now because I'm not going to leave my car in a charge point while I'm off doing something. So that's why I'm not charging. Interestingly enough, just back there, I nearly hit somebody. Not my fault, because and the evangelist will say it is, because the guy walked out in front of me because he couldn't hear me. Now I do have a little sound thing on here, but that takes up more battery. And he walked out, couldn't hear me. Where does that leave people who are visually impaired with electric cars? Because it's yet another point, isn't it, that they're dangerous. They're not saving the planet, and they are dangerous. Anyway, this video literally is about, it's a little bit of a road trip as well. It's not just about whinging about electric cars. It's to prove a point. But I mean, and by the way, if I disappear, then you'll know why. It's because I didn't agree with the electric cars. Anyway, I'm going to go and film these fish and chips, which I can't wait for, which you can see on the channel, by the way. I'll just turn this milk float off, which you'll be able to see on the channel in a future video, maybe the next one, I think, because I'm going to Yorkshire Fisheries, which is supposed to be the best fish and chip shop. Now, I have been before in a video ages ago, but I got takeout. I think I'm going to try and get a sit down. Might be if Yorkshire Fisheries, I think that's supposed to be the best. Anyway, I'll see you guys in a minute. Don't go anywhere, because like I say, we're then going to pick up the journey to Glasgow. So I'll see you guys, and if you've not got YouTube Premium, this is probably where you'll see an advert right now. See you guys in a minute. Right, my friends, well, had some excellent fish and chips. The weather has been really kind to me, actually. The sun's been out. It was a little bit stormy to start with, but now it's clearing. So we've got 108 miles left of range, 43% of battery left, 195 miles to Glasgow. We're going to go up the M6. Now, I know on the M6 there is a Porsche garage. Hopefully we'll make it to that in time before they close. I don't know whether it's bollarded off after a certain time, but I've been there before, so hopefully we'll go there, because that's a lot easier for me. I can have a free coffee at Porsche if they're still open, and also I get discounted charging as well. So we're going to hit the road now. So enough of me, let's get a move on. So come on, onwards, my friends. Oh, and it's 11 minutes past 3 now. I say I've got 108 miles of range. However, I switched the air conditioning off because I didn't want to make a noise while I'm filming. So let's pop that back on again, and let's see what we've got. Let's pop the AC back on because it's a bit warm in here. So now we have 98 miles of range. There we go. So it's actually reduced it because we've got the air conditioning on. Oh well, there we go. I think we should have enough to get us to the Porsche garage, hopefully enough. So come on, onwards. Right, so we're on the road on the M6. I'm going to try and call in at Porsche South Lakeland, where I can have a coffee. I've charged up there before. It's also a faster charger as well, so we should be there not too long. Hopefully we'll find out. It all depends on how warm the battery is, etc., and preheated it is, etc. So we're going to get to there, have a coffee. I've got 79 miles of range left, 35% of battery. This is really, for me, where range anxiety starts to kick in a little bit, because of the infrastructure at the moment in the United Kingdom. It's absolutely terrible. I know, wait a minute, unless you have a Tesla, of course, but even so, at Christmas there was queues of cars and cars waiting for hours for the Tesla chargers, because there weren't enough and the amount of time that it took to charge up. So unless the battery technology gets better and we can get batteries and make batteries and produce batteries that don't take, you know, mining and having children to mine all the minerals for it, you know, where we could maybe, I'm not into technology like that. I like technology, but I'm not into battery technology. You know, maybe where we could recycle batteries and get them to use them again without having to dig new minerals up, etc. I don't know, is that possible? But for me now, you can clearly see that this is just a way of controlling us all and leading us like lambs to the slaughter. And we are doing it. We're literally just walking along. Oh, electric car, they've got one. The next door neighbour's got one. We should have one. Let's get an electric car. We're being told to have an electric car. Must get an electric car. We've got to have them, because we won't be able to. If everybody said no, we're not having one, we're not buying one, right? They're rubbish. We're not buying one. Then all this would stop. And I've clearly proven on videos in the past that these things are not fit for purpose. It's just crazy. Anyway, I'm looking forward to my coffee. I've had great fish and chips. The weather's been quite kind actually, and I have to say I love these drives because England, Scotland, Great Britain, well, the world really is a beautiful place, and it's great to see different places. The Lake District that we're going to be going through is one of the most beautiful places on earth. Anyway, come on, onwards. Right, okay, so 2 chargers. We've got an Audi in one charging up. Now then, what have we got? We've got 61 miles of range left, 27%. Now bear in mind, now make it, let me just park that, make a note of this, it's now 3:53. okay, so 3:53, 27% of charge. There we go. So 3:53, I'm going to charge it up and let's see how long it takes to get to full, so we can get on our way to Glasgow. Come on. Right, so I've got my Porsche charging card, so this is discounted charging, bear in mind. So authenticating my my card. Give me a minute. Okay, and now I can plug it in. Okay, we're waiting, preparing. I'll keep talking. You stay with us. Preparing. Come on, this is always the bit that makes your heart go, is it actually going to work or not? Preparing. Oh, there we go, charging in process. Charging time. Here we go. Okay, so we're getting 130 kilowatts charging power, 27%. Nip in and have a coffee, a little biscuit or whatever. Visit the little boy's room and then come back and see how it's doing. Got to have a quick look at the cars as well. The 911s with an engine in it. Ooh. The power's going down, 128, 127, 128. Yeah. Oh, here we go, got another car coming in now as well, but he's not going to be able to use this charger because I'm in it. So now, that gentleman who's just pulled in there, he's a lovely old elderly gentleman. He said, oh, are you going? I said, no, I've just pulled in. I said, the other guy might leave first though, so now he's waiting around. See, this is the reality of owning an EV. You see now the elderly gentleman up there has gone to the other car and asked him if he's moving because he's wanting to charge, because I've only just got in and he's wanting to charge his car. He almost nearly tripped up and broke his neck, bless him, on the bollard on the floor at the front, and then held onto my car. I hope he hadn't dented it. Rather that, I guess, than him hurt himself. So Aisha's made me a drink of latte in a Porsche cup. And I tell you what, I've got a little Lotus biscuit as well. But here, I mean, Porsche Leeds, if you're watching, you've got to step your game up, because we've got Yorkie bars here, we've got Kit Kats, breakaways, toffee crisps, cheddar onion crisps and pipers, etc. And what a selection. It's a right feast here. It's like a little cafeteria as well. It's great. I'll tell you what's worrying me though is, and I've just said, there's more electric cars now. I guess on the bright side, if they still keep serving biscuits like that and coffee like this, then it's great, isn't it? But there is a lot more electric cars now than there was before the last time I came up the other week. Anyway, I'll see you guys in a minute. I tell you what though, I'd rather have that car over there. That's the classic one. How much is that?
It's not for sale, unfortunately.
It's not for. That tells you how much it is. It's not for sale. See you guys in a minute. Right, okay, so it is now 4:40 and we're at 99% charged. So we've been charging for 43 minutes. There you can see there on the screen there, it's now finished. So it's now 100%. So we're done, we're at 100%. Have a look at this. So we'll unplug, let this gentleman who's waiting to plug his car in, and then we'll get on the road up to Glasgow and probably charge again on the way up, just to make sure that we've got enough charge. So let's get back in the car. Oh, right, so that cost me, are you waiting for this? Are you ready for this? That cost me £38.86. 64.32 kWh, 43 minutes charging, so £38.86. So let's get back on the road. I've got something interesting to tell you actually, because I've just been speaking to a gentleman there who is the CEO for an electric for an energy company, and I was asking him a little bit about the grid and electric cars, are they the future, etc. And he was telling me some interesting facts, so we'll get to that in a minute. Anyway, let's get on the road and let's get to Glasgow, and I might have to put a little bit more charge in it on the way up, because as I say, the only thing that's come out of these evangelist mouths is charge when you can and not when you have to. And I have to say, whoever said that made excellent sense. So let's get on the road and get up to Glasgow. Come on, onwards my friends. So I've got 227 miles of range left now. I was talking to a guy there, I don't want to say his name or whatever, because he was the CEO of an energy company, and he had an electric car actually. Obviously that's why he was there charging up. And I asked him whether he thought electric cars were the future, and I said, can the grid handle electric cars if everybody had an electric car? And he said, well, yeah, it will do, but you won't have your cheap times or your cheap tariffs, because everybody will be having electric cars, so they'll all be charging, so there won't be any cheap times at all. So but yes, the grid can handle it. So I mean, I read that it couldn't, but that guy obviously knows a lot more than me. But he doesn't think himself that electric cars are the future. He thinks they have a place in society, and I think this guy spoke a lot of sense, to be fair. And he says he thinks they have a place, like a town car or whatever, if you're going around town, etc. But he thinks hydrogen is going to be the way forward, and he thinks that battery technology is going to be kind of the Betamax, and then VHS is going to be the hydrogen. We've got the Betamax VHS syndrome, but hydrogen is going to be the way forward, because BMW's already started looking into hydrogen, etc., and they're teaming up with Toyota itself, because Toyota's never thought that a whole EV car is going to be the future, and they've already said that. So you can see basically where this is going, and you're going to be ending up with a Betamax video recorder that's going to be worth nothing, basically. So it's interesting speaking to people, etc. I spoke to a guy in Porsche as well. I can't say his name, but he had an Audi, and I said, what did you think to it? And he said it was terrible because of the range on it. He did say the Taycans are excellent, by the way, at telling you how much range they've got left, etc. And they're an excellent car, but going into Cumbria, but it's got a long way to go. And I agree, it does have a long way to go, but it's that far away in the future, it's never going to happen. So they're not at all a future at all. Hydrogen, interesting. So pop it in the comment section down below. Anyway, we're going to head to Glasgow, which is 134 miles, I think, to go.
Let's take M6 north.
153 miles. So I can get to Glasgow with this charge, but I want to charge before I get there, because I don't want to be wandering around or driving around looking for a charge point. So we're going to charge when we can, not when we have to. So come on, onwards, my friends. Look at this scenery. It's absolutely gorgeous. I love the Lake District. Spent a lot of time here as a child. It's beautiful. God, this country is amazing. Come on, onwards. Now, I've got to tell you, I'm getting tired. It's 5:30. We've got an hour and 48 minutes, 116 miles to go, 193 miles of range. I probably will add some charge in it when we get a little bit closer to Scotland. So you can see already that the amount of time that owning an electric car, if you are on a long journey, adds on to your entire journey. It literally is. It's time consuming. Now, I'm just doing this to go up and film some fish and chips at a place or whatever, but you imagine if I've got my kids in the car and Sarah in the car, that's 40 odd minutes plus another half an hour or whatever I'm going to be doing when I charge next. So you're talking nearly an hour and a half, really, realistically, you know, an hour and 20 minutes or whatever, out of your journey, just charging. And it's tiring, it's adding on to it. And then on your way back as well, you're adding that again. So work out how much time that you're wasting. Life's short, and surely it's too short to be spending it hanging around charging a jumped up milk float. Come on. Got to tell you, I am getting very tired now, so I don't think I'm going to make it to Glasgow tonight. I'm going to pull off here at the services at Gretna Services and give it another little charge. We're at 74%. 168 miles. And remember, charge when you can and not when you have to. So we'll pull up here and whack some charging, and then we'll get on the road again, but I'll probably stop at a Premier Inn or somewhere just outside of Glasgow, because I'm shattered. So you can see it adds time onto it. It adds time onto your journey, and it's tiring. You imagine having a family, 40 odd minutes added onto your time, another, you know, whatever time this is going to take. It's crazy. Gretna services, I think these have got a high powered charger, so we'll go here. Here we go, Gretna services. Right, I'm going to have to reverse in here because my high-powered charger is only on the passenger side. These are on. Oh, hang on. There we go. Who's ringing? Somebody always rings at the wrong time, don't they? I tell you what, it's Paige. It's my daughter. I knew it would be. I knew it would be. Here she is. I'm just in the middle of filming something. Can I ring you? But do you want to say hello? Because you always ring when I'm filming. You're on a vlog.
I know. You rang me when I was videoing as well. So you cut me off.
I cut you off while you were filming. Well, there you go.
Yeah, you cut me off.
Well, you're on my vlog now, and I need my reversing sensor, and you're cutting that off. So I'll speak to you later.
Okay.
Bye.
Bye.
Love you. Bye. Right. I need my reverse. She's cut my reversing sensor off. Here we go. That's it. Right. I need to get this back. Here we go. They don't leave enough space in these places because the cables on them. Here we go. He's getting nervous behind. He's twitching behind. Right, there we go. So it's now 5:58. Remember that, 5:58, 73%. You're going to get all the evangelists saying you shouldn't charge past 80%, you know. So what's the point in having a battery then? You might as well just have an 80% battery, haven't you? Anyway, 5:58, 168 miles of range, 73% left. Let's go and charge it up, have a coffee, use the loo, and then let's just take it from there. Right, so I've got to use my card to authorise it. So I can use my Porsche card on this one. So I'll authorise that. Authorisation confirmed, so I'm going to pop this in the car now. Yours keeps stopping. Yeah. Right, pop that in. Right, it's preparing communication, preparing to charge, setting up communication. How long's yours been in for?
Probably
20
20 minutes.
minutes? No charge at all? And it's been in 20 minutes?
It just keeps stopping, it says error.
Keeps stopping, it says error?
Yeah.
Strange.
I'm asking for the account. Everything is said is connected.
Well, this says it's preparing, but it's not doing anything as yet. Oh no, here we go, charging now, 73%. Right, so there we go, it is charging, 73%. The gentleman there is having a little bit of an issue with the charger on that one. Gonna nip to the loo, get a coffee, and we'll see how it goes. Right, it's 6:10. There's cars waiting. I am at 86%. I'll probably get out of here in a minute. I'll just stick a little bit of charge on it because it does charge slower after 80%. The gentleman down next to me here, who's got the Tesla, has downloaded the app for Ionity and it's still not working, so he's having issues. We've got another, like I say, car over there waiting as well, so this is a complete farce really at the moment. There's not enough charges, unfortunately. I'm going to give it a little bit more charge because I just want to get enough charge to get up there and then back down to here, because I'll probably charge here on the way back down again. So give it another 5-10 minutes. Right, so it's now 6:31. So we're at 99% charged. So I'm going to unplug it. Why is my phone listening to me again? My watch listening to me again? Tell you what, everything's listening to you. Right, I'm going to unplug this. We'll get back in the car and we'll finish this video off. Right, okay, so that cost £7.49. We charged 24.97 kilowatts. We started at 6:01 and 6:31 we finished, so it took 30 minutes to charge there. You are going to get the evangelist saying you shouldn't charge past 80%, but then what's the point in having a battery, you know, if you can't charge it past 80%? You want to fill up, don't you? I mean, you imagine going to a petrol station and they're saying, oh, don't fill up, don't fill it up to the top, you know, only fill it up to 80% of the tank. So there you go. I say electric cars, waste of time. That's wasted, what was it, well over an hour, and then also we've got to waste that on the way back down as well. Again, I'm going to head off up to Glasgow now. I've got another 85 miles to go in another hour and 19 minutes, so really I could have been there by now. So there you go, electric cars, the reality of them. And I just, you know, the reality of living with an EV is just a nightmare. It's ridiculous. They're not fit for purpose. If you're new to the channel, by the way, do hit the subscribe button. It's not all about electric cars. It's travel, food and tech, and it's a bit of fun as well. So, geez, good grief. What's all that about? It's trying to give me a heart attack. God grief. Right, anyway, on that bombshell, I'll see you guys in the next one. Stupid car. Now then, just stop right there because I'm at a Days Inn just outside Glasgow, and I've just met a guy who said, are you the guy that does YouTube? And I said, yeah, says, with electric cars. Says, we've watched it. I says, yeah. He says, well, I've got an electric van. Now this is interesting. And I says, oh right, where have you come from? He says, we've come from Milton Keynes. So he's driven up from Milton Keynes to get about 140 miles per charge on his van, and it's taken 6 chargers to get up here. 6 chargers. And I said, surely that's not economical. And he says, we've got to get to net zero. So 6 chargers that it's taken to get up here. He said, because the van's loaded up and obviously it gets less charge. So they're getting probably less than 100 miles out of it because his van's laden up. That's absolute mad. If he's watching, by the way, how you doing? So there we go. Anyway, I've got a Days Inn, £56 for the night. Got my computer set up so I can edit, and I'll go and get a McDonald's or whatever and a coffee, and then that's me done. So there you go. I just thought that was quite interesting.